Hey, good morning everybody. It's an early morning here in Bayport, New York. I'm out on Long Island again, trying the same route as the 15-mile run quite a while back, I guess now. But we're doing 20 today, and we left at about 5:40. We're a little over a mile in. The sun's just coming up, finally enough to see me. So it's gonna be a good one. It's definitely humid again, unfortunately, but it is cooler. It's down in the, I'd say, low 60s by now. Started in the low 50s or high 50s early this morning, so not bad. We'll give it our best. Let's do it. Fourth neighborhood so far. I think Bayport, Blue Point, Patchogue. Now we're in Bellport. My legs are a little tight, but nothing to worry about really. I'm just taking it a little easier, maybe like 15 seconds slower per mile than I would have otherwise. But everything else feels good. Got my water, got gels. My heart rate's pretty good right now. It's definitely still humid, but again, a cool day, so I think we're gonna have success today. Finally, 20 miles. All right, let's keep going. Country Club.
All right, so now that I've had some time to cool off, there's a few things that I do want to go over. I'm just going to put the pace and everything on the screen right now, let you take a look at it. I'm not going to talk through it. It's hard to go through it mile by mile, but I will go over just a few things that happened along the way. Started out with a humid morning, like I said. You could tell right away, even like it is now, it's just wet air. Which is unfortunate. It makes it a little bit difficult, makes obviously clothing very heavy, very sticky, led to like a little bit of chafing and things. Even if you just like really layer on the Body Glide, it's still very difficult if you get very wet and sweaty, because it washes it off, for one, I think, in a lot of places. But it also, again, just leads to like heavier, bouncy, sticky clothing that moves around a little bit. So it can definitely lead to some chafing, but overall, it wasn't bad. I'm definitely happy with, after 20 miles, the way everything felt in the shower, things like that. Nothing was really stinging, so overall it was fine, but it does just make it very difficult. And obviously, as you get later into runs and the sun comes out, that humidity really makes it very difficult towards the end. So not bad day, cool temperatures, I'm all right with it, and obviously I'm very happy that the run was done. No matter what the conditions, no matter what the pace, I'm glad I got the mileage in. Now, at some point along the way, I dropped one of my gels. I had 4. I was going to take one about every 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure I had all 4 of them up until the last 2. Probably took the 3rd one and must have dropped it, or if I put the camera in my bag at some point, I must have dropped it towards the end. So when I was reaching for that last gel with about 4 miles to go, I was struggling a little bit at that point with the heat. The sun was coming up. My body was pretty tired. I mean, the last 6 miles of that run, honestly, were rough. And, you know, I think I put on Strava, like, brutal, and somebody I know, Mark, who I actually know in person from New York City, was like, oh, is everything okay? And I put it out there because it really felt just brutal. Like, that's how the last 6 miles of it felt. The whole run was great. Halfway point was fine, 10, 12, 13 miles. Then I just started to like look at my watch and say, oh man, I have 6 miles left of this. My legs are getting tired. My legs are getting heavy. My heart rate is climbing a little bit. So it was just a battle mentally to keep going through that portion of the run. And overall, it just made the whole thing feel very difficult, even though most of it went very smooth. And I think when I was running low on that gel at the end, my body was also craving a little bit more calories, a little more carbs, and I just didn't have it at that point. So I actually did stop quickly in a 7-Eleven, grabbed like a hydration electrolyte drink and a Cliff Bar, and just put that in really, really quick, and then was back out on the road. And it made me think for a moment, like, us as runners, like the general public who see someone soaking wet with calf sleeves, honestly a little bit of blood on my shirt from the chafing on my chest, and like we just walk in, we grab something, we're standing out, I was standing outside the 7-Eleven just like drinking it as fast as I could, shoving the Cliff Bar in my mouth, and then all of a sudden we're like starting our watch and we're back out on the road, and that just probably looks pretty funny. Now, the last little quirky thing that happened was I did make that detour down to the beach on the way out. Then on the way back, I wasn't going to use that. It was exactly 1 mile from Main Street in Bellport to the beach and back. So I went an extra mile out thinking on the way back I'm not going to have that mile coming home. And somehow, again, even now, I mean, with my runner's head, like I couldn't calculate the math correctly. Somehow I finished a mile away from where I needed to end. So when I finished, I had a mile walk after the 20-mile run, and that was also probably part of why I said it was just brutal. Like, my legs were sore at that point. I didn't want to be walking a whole extra mile after I finished the 20-mile run. So that wrapped everything up, and obviously that just left that feeling in my head of like, oof, like this was really tough, and that's why I said that on Strava. But otherwise, all is good. You know, run's done, no injuries. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I've kind of come around from that point where you just finished. We were pretty tired, pretty fatigued, and now I'm ready to go for the rest of the day and do everything I gotta do. So I'm happy it's done, happy the weather held out. A little cooler temps here, really making things a little bit more pleasant. I don't think I would have done that run as well or been able to finish in the conditions of humidity if the heat was another 10 degrees higher like it had been just a few weeks ago. So obviously for me, it helps to have at least the temperature or the humidity down. I can't have them both really, really high, or else it just really destroys my body and my will to run. So that's all for today, and I'm happy. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the little tour around Long Island where I was running, and I hope to see you all in the next video. One Last thing I'll say quickly, I wore the Hoka Carbon X2, and that shoe really doesn't do me any favors. I think it was part of what made the run a little bit difficult, a little bit slow. There's just no energy return from that foam. I tried using it in a half marathon a few months ago in Brooklyn. It was okay, but it really didn't help me get any energy return like I would out of other racing shoes. So I was going to use it as a long run shoe. It's been fine. It supported me, my feet, my body, knees, everything feel good. So I don't think it's a negative effect from the shoe, but it just certainly doesn't give you any extra favors as far as energy return or pop. The carbon fiber plate isn't something alone that is clearly going to boost your run. So just want to throw that in there. The shoe is really kind of a dud. I wouldn't even try the third one myself at this point. But it carried us through 20, so not the end of the world. And that's really it. So take care, everyone.